You just got to say yes and then solve the problem, figure out the how later. That requires resourcefulness. Then you can solve these problems. So waiting too long to act, that can't exist on your team. It must not exist on your team. You must make sure that it is not existing on your team. Well, let's go, guys. We're talking about visionary leader today. We're talking about people and culture. People and culture. We're going to talk about some cool stuff today. Action that creates confidence. Let's talk about confidence today. Why do so many people, you got to ask this question, why do so many people wait to feel confident before actually taking action? Those folks that lack confidence are the ones that get almost nothing done. They literally are waiting. They'll tell you, well, I'm going to go read about, I'm going to go learn about, I'm going to go talk to, I'm going to go learn, and then I'm going to do it. And the reality is that that's not an option. If you want to have and build on success stories, confidence is a state of mind. It is not based on ability. And ability is way later. So we say commitments first. You have to say, yes, I'm going to go get this done. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to get it done. Ability starts to build, and then the confidence shows up later. And the crazy is you got to keep repeating this cycle your entire career in life to gain the confidence. As soon as you think you got confidence from the buildup, it's time to change it again, and you actually have no confidence because you're going to have to say yes to something you have no idea about. The other side of that confidence is it's state. It's your state of mind. And your state of mind says, I just solved this problem. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to just solve this problem. That comes from an emotional state of mind. Confident in your ability to problem solve, confident in your ability to be resourceful, confident in resolution. I'm going to get this thing resolved. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to figure it out. What do you learn about confidence developing after action? Oddly enough, the more you say yes, the more your capabilities will go up. You'll start learning stuff. You literally, all of a sudden, there's things that become in your circle, if you will, or proximity of you. As soon as you say, yes, I'm going to go figure this out. Yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, I'll have this done. The ability starts to grow. As that ability starts to grow, your confidence starts to boost. If you don't naturally have that state, just walk in the room fully confident. If you're the one that has to approach it differently, you just got to go say yes. You got to say yes, not knowing. Ability will increase, and that's going to give you some of that confidence, or we'll call that comfort. Comfort. Taking action shaped the culture by taking the action. It's literally, they're going to follow whoever's leading. And if you have the confidence, if you're in a state of mind all the time that you just have, I'm just going to go figure this out. You breach the door, you go in, people are going to want to get in behind you. They're going to follow you. So from a culture standpoint, taking the action is really critical. You may not, you can, have that silent moment at home when you get home, say, wow, what am I thinking? I didn't know what I was doing. But the reality is your confidence is going to lead you. It's going to guide you into a process. And people, the ones that do know, will start to gravitate to you. They'll literally start to gravitate. They follow people that are super confident. Think about the ones getting on a roller coaster. They're just about to get on a roller coaster, and you're kind of shaking like, oh, my God, I'm going to ride a roller coaster. The people getting on first, you're like, I got this. I can do this. It's literally following. And when you follow somebody that's already said, I'm in, confidence will go up. Small daily actions build credibility with employees and clients. Those little items literally celebrate the win. It's stop and smell the roses, as the old proverbial saying goes. It's literally, you got to celebrate the little wins. When we open team meetings on a regular basis, we have them all every day. There's a team meeting of some kind, huddles, bigger discussions, management, C-suite, etc. We open every meeting with, how are you winning? And we want to hear about the little wins, because those little wins is why we develop confidence or comfort in what we're actually doing. And so we always ask, we go around the room, we call it a round table. We say, we're going to go around the room, give us one win. And some of the meetings we say one win. Other ones, we like, give me your list. We want to hear them all. And it depends on your level of performance. So new management level, we want to hear them all because is what happens is the new management level wants to embellish, right? Their ego is going to grow them. So let their ego grow them in a way by saying, I'm winning at, I'm winning at, I'm winning at. And they all of a sudden they start to sit taller. Their chest comes out and they sit taller in their chair. That is really building confidence in them. Whereas your C suite come in, you're like, I need to know about a win. They're going to like, we just closed this deal. It's worldwide. They're giving you a giant win and it's not ego related. It's actually success story related. We need those little egos because that's how we grow is based on ego. We got to have an ego. That's going to show up. We're going to tell you all these cool little wins. And then that's how we build people. Confidence goes high. This is a cool thing because ego is really a God-given gift to us, all of us. We're born with this cool thing called the ego. And for years, you've heard people say, check your ego at the door. Don't come in. I don't want to know about your ego. All kinds of just paraphrase stuff. I say the opposite. I'm bringing your ego with you, man, because I really need to know who I'm working with. I need to see how big it is. So when they come in and they're telling me from an ego standpoint, there's a line, and I use my hands to kind of give you a metaphorically piece here, just kind of visual. There's a line, and your ego sits on one side, and your arrogance sits right on the other side. Ego is significance, right? You got to be significant. You have to matter, otherwise, no one's going to pay attention. And on the other side of that line is arrogance, because if you matter that much, they see you as arrogant. Without ego, you're not going to have any growth because your ego is like, see me, hear me, you gotta listen to me. That's your ego. And until you build on that, this is where the teacher is the one that learns the most, not the student. When you start to teach, you learn more than the people that's being taught because your ego starts to show up and your significance matters. Ego is really important that you bring it with you, carry it with you. Having said that, you have to manage your ego. So that's where we come into the discipline. You have to have a discipline about you. You have to be able to know where that where that line gets to, but take it there every single time because you're going to matter differently. You're going to matter differently at home. You're going to matter differently in the office. At home, you need to suppress it. You don't need to have an ego running around. But when you get into a space where there's a lot of professionals, they got egos, you got ego, make sure that you're playing the right game. Have a discipline around it, but carry it with you at all times. Just manage it. Manage it really well. We just call that a discipline. How do leaders move forward when they're uncertain about an outcome? I can tell you they're probably not leading much. Um, that's really kind of the reverse of what that question is asking me. They're probably not leading very much if you're really scared. If you're uncertain, one of the things leaders have to do is add certainty in all uncertain situations. So we literally have to show up first. COVID showed up. We had to add certainty to the teams. They were super uncertain about an outcome. What's going to happen? Well, it's only a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden, COVID went on for a couple of months, then a few months, and then a year. And we're like, what is going on? We as leaders had to keep adding certainty. It's going to be okay, guys. We're just going to keep going. Here's what we'll do. We're going to separate. We're going to join up. We're going to do whatever. What do you guys think? Get their opinion. Get some feedback. Pry it out of them. Expand them in those moments. But how do leaders move forward uncertain? We just add certainty. And then we plow through. We have to mow through. We can cry and whine and do whatever you want to do when you get home. President of the United States, think he's got some trouble, maybe about 2 a.m. to about 2:05? But the rest of the time, he's got to deliver in really uncertain situations. He's got to keep delivering. Doesn't matter. So as a leader, to move forward, you got to keep delivering. You add certainty in all uncertain situations. Discipline play and building momentum. I'm not confident that that's really all tied together, actually. Discipline, play, and building momentum. Sometimes discipline is going to hold you back. You're going to be so disciplined that there's no momentum going on. I'm keeping myself in check over here. So for me, discipline plays a role in how you manage emotions, for one. How do you manage when you want to be angry, frustrated, pissed off at a teammate even? How do you manage that part? That's where discipline comes in. And that's not building momentum. That's making sure there's a survival mechanism for the team member and for you in the moment. I'll put my fingers up in a small moment. Because the next part of that is you got to kind of throw caution to the wind and you got to go all in. But discipline, playing the big momentum thing, discipline, other than structure, um, when you have a lot of rules, there's not a lot of momentum. So managing that discipline, I think, is a really critical component to the momentum side. Is throw some of the rules away. If you look at the House, Senate, etc., they make laws, but they don't ever get rid of laws. They make a whole bunch of new laws every year. California does 1,000 of them every year, some crazy number, but they don't get rid of any. And so momentum, discipline, how does that play? Isn't that suppressing momentum in society as a whole? So we want to say, okay, we're going to make this new procedural change. That's a discipline, but we're going to get rid of these three because we no longer need them. Now now we have some momentum potential because you're going to let people be free to create, be free to figure out the how without somebody dictating the how. How can leaders help teams become more action oriented? Um, well, I guess for me, I got managers, directors, VPs that report to me. And some of those action items are really, or action oriented, is really coming from them and their role. They know we got to get to X, and we don't really say how to get there. We just say we have to get there. And so the creativity is what you want to really impact. Um, Not necessarily creating action items, but creating here's where we have to go. And the meetings create the momentum. What are we doing? Who's involved? Who else needs to be involved? Because we're not all knowing. We're good at one or two things, but you got to be great at five things. So that means other people got to get involved. So helping your team, action oriented, they drive action because the discussion internally is about action. What are we going to do? That's up there. How are we going to get there? That's the action stuff. That's the team's got to decide the action items. Well, consequences of waiting too long to act is you're unemployed. That's really, there's no space on my teams for that. Bigger picture is it's more detrimental because the problem is if you don't act, your clients write you off, your clients leave. And then that's a much, much bigger problem because you do damage from your brand standpoint in your circles of buying, who's buying from you. You do damage in those circles if you wait too long to act. This is the confidence thing. You just got to say yes and then solve the problem, figure out the how later. That requires resourcefulness. Then you can solve these problems. So waiting too long to act, that can't exist on your team. It must not exist on your team. You must make sure that it is not existing on your team. No delays in reaction. Speed of performance. It's literally in my mission statement. Speed of performance is a critical component to success stories. And you have to perform. Think of it differently. Think about every place you go frequently for lunch bite or breakfast bite or so on. If they took an hour to get you your meal, are you going back tomorrow? Are you going back on Saturday? Probably no, because it took them too long to act. If they were consistently in 5 minutes, you're like, dude, I'm in. I'm going back. So the consequences of waiting too long is you're going to lose buyers. Losing buyers, you're out of business. So never hesitate. Speed of performance, critical component. Consistent actions. Consistency is everything. They say how we do anything is how we do everything. You have to be consistent in your delivery. If you come in at 7:45 and then 8:20 and then 6:30 and then 10:45, people are going to watch that. And if you're the leader, if you're managing a team, et cetera, they're going to watch that. They too will replicate those schedules, not to the early side. They're going to replicate your schedule to the late side. And so all of a sudden they're going to be like, okay, tomorrow I'll be in at 10. And then they'll get to where they send a text or an email saying, oh, yeah, on Friday, I'm going to be out till, 11 o'clock. All of a sudden, it starts to compound. So the consistent actions of any manager or leader is going to be followed. And so you have to be consistent in what you do. If 7:55 is the deal, every day at 7:55 is when you walk through the door with consistency. Old mentor of mine, John's his name, still around, 88 years old, still goes to work every day, by the way, very consistently at this. And he was super consistent. As I would go to the office, I'd watch him. I watched him very, very much watched him. I don't know even how to describe this. At 11 a.m., he would go on a run and he would be back at about 12:15. He would microwave a cup of soup. He would eat from 12:15 to 12:30 at his desk, cup of soup, read a paper, by the way, Wall Street Journal. And every single day, Monday through Friday, was exactly the same methodical approach. His office time was 6:30 a.m. Every day. He made coffee at 6:35. I followed that consistency. I gravitated to that. It was literally like, that's who I am at my core. Being consistent in all actions, not just delivery to the buyer, but how you show up in the office. And a methodical, consistent approach to everything is how you're going to deliver for your buyer as well. Watch that on your team. Make sure your team is delivering high consistency. Do the same thing, all the little remedial habits. We call them rituals, Richual. We call them rituals because they make you rich in your career. They'll make you rich in connection. They'll make you rich in health. They'll make you rich in wealth if that's a desire. Literally be consistent in your actions. Don't hesitate on that. You delay, so will your buyer. Yeah, it's much like I just talked about practices that help leaders. Be consistent in all of those things. It's probably why you got the nod, the point, the saying, hey, I think you can lead. Somebody recognized you have patterns. Somebody did. So whoever your mentor is, whoever the leader of the company is that you work with, they recognized you have some talents and gifts based on your methodical approach or your consistent actions, your habitual behaviors. That's why you got a promotion. That's why you became a manager. That's why you're now in a leadership role. Somebody caught that and they paid attention like, wow, Johnny or Mary, they do the same thing. This is kind of crazy. Hey, Johnny, let's sit down. Hey, Mary, let's sit down. Let's talk about something. I can see something different for you. And they're like, wow, I didn't think about that. They have consistent patterns. Sometimes those consistent patterns can hold you back, but somebody's picking up on them. Somebody's following what you're doing. Be consistent. Closing out this is take action. It's a state. Change your state. Make sure you're ready to say yes in all cases. Say yes. You can decide later, but today, in all cases, say yes. Yes, I will do that. Yes, we can get that done. Yes, the team will be there. And if you say yes, you can go process. You can sit back for a minute. You can say, yes, I got these people. I can be resourceful. It's not lack of resources. It's lack of resourcefulness. That's the reason we fail. Be resourceful. Get the right people in the circle. I guarantee you're not going to handle all things yourself. But as a team, you'll handle all things. So confidence goes through the roof. You got to build the team, and it takes the team, and it's not a solo adventure.